I'm Christine Stavropoulos.
Κι εγώ, ο Νίκος Σαμίδης.
Maybe you were born in Athens. Or maybe your γιαγιά was.
Ίσως μεγάλωσες μιλώντας σου ελληνικά. Ή ίσως είσαι το ξαδελφάκι που φεύγει για Ντουμπάι για δουλειά για 1 χρόνο μόνο.
Wherever you are in the world, if Greece lives in your heart.
Αυτό το ταξίδι είναι για σένα. Φύγαμε.
Hi everybody. Welcome to the second episode of the Greek Podyssey. Nico, I'm back from Greece. Are you excited to see me?
Of course I am.
Yeah.
Always. I'm always excited seeing you.
I've come back to this huge twirly moustache.
Yeah, I'm preparing myself for next year's vacation in Greece because I'm going to Crete, so I need my mustache to be equivalent to my co-villagers.
I like it.
I love it.
I like it a lot.
Thank you very much. I like you as well. Now you came back tanned and so refreshed. And yes, you're
tanned?
looking good. You're looking good.
I had the best time.
I'm sure about it, that you had the best time.
Yeah,
Who
right.
doesn't?
My holidays tend to be a little bit different because I immerse myself into όπως λέμε στην καθημερινότητα, and I met a lot of interesting people. I don't do the classic touristy stuff where I go to the big beach bars. I'm a little bit more undercover, a bit of low key.
You are undercover, low-key, doing interviews in the street, and you telling me that you're undercover and low-key.
Anyway, we'll get into that a bit later on.
Okay.
Do you want to recap on season 1 a little bit? Like, what was your favorite episode?
Wow, that's a very good question. I can't pick one. I think there were a few. I really enjoyed the Promised Brides. That was a very emotional episode. I enjoyed Kara's West story. I can't pick one, to be honest, Christine. How about you?
Well, just on Cara West,
Yeah.
I was so excited to meet her in person when I went to Syros.
Yeah, whoever wants, there is an interview on our YouTube channel. Christine took an interview with Cara West. So you can jump in our YouTube channel and watch the interview.
She's just so bubbly, so enthusiastic, and I just loved it. It's great. I love to connect with the people that we interview. It's like they become a member of the Greek Podyssey family. You don't just cut and go.
No.
We like to keep track of how our guests are progressing in their adventures or their stories. So we, just like we had with Evelyn Sagapo in New York City, the first episode of our season 2, what a remarkable young woman Evelyn is.
Of course, he's from Thessaloniki.
Of course, yes. No, but just her passion in her culture, which is diverse and very rich, very proud with her Pontian roots, and her passion and determination in starting a restaurant in Manhattan called Sagapo. And I've watched some of her videos. If everyone's following Sagapo New York City, she's a great cook.
She's an amazing cook. Yeah.
And
which one was your favorite episode, Christine?
Season 1. Oh, look, I have to say, I love the episodes that's just you and I when we go for it and our own sort of exchanges. I loved our interview with the former Consul General, Yannis Malikourtis. He gave us a great insight on Hellenism and continuing Greek culture and how we should disperse that around the diaspora.
Although it was a very controversial part there when Mr. Malikourtis said the language, he thinks that it shouldn't be a barrier for whoever loves Greece. So you can't exclude people from, call them Philhellene or Hellenes, because they don't speak the Greek language. It is a tool, he said, to maintain Greek identity, but it's not a must.
I agree with him. Have to speak Greek to be Greek, which was the message that he put across. I know a lot of people, look, I'll use my kids as an example. They feel very much Greek. They're not very proficient in speaking Greek. And then I know people that speak fluent Greek, but don't feel very Greek. So I think feeling Greek is something that you exude and feel inside you. A language should not be the barrier.
The Greekness, that was the right word.
The
Greekness.
Yeah.
So it's not a must
Yes.
for Greekness. And yeah, it was a beautiful episode. We really enjoyed it.
And of course, I did love the episode with Cara West, only apart from her very interesting story in being a digital nomad, the fact that she lives in Syros, because I have a great love for Syros. It's my beloved island when I go to Greece.
There we go again.
There we go. I will talk about Syros and my adventures in Syros. Because I know a lot of people wanted me to share insights of how I saw Greece, the tourism, how things have evolved, changed, good, bad. There is a lot of geopolitics happening around the world that obviously is impacting on everyday life in Greece as well. So there's a whole melting pot of circumstances.
I agree. And so we're getting ready to continue the season 2. So we planned everything ahead and my trip to Greece,
Yes.
including. And let's talk about what's going to happen on the season 2. Before that, I would like to say thank you to everyone who supported us and watched us on season 1. Means the world to us. At the beginning, it was a project that we didn't know where we're heading to. And I think the words Podyssey sits really well with our journey here and your journey, of course.
The best name, Nico. Thank you.
No, it's not of that. Like all the journey that we had from the beginning of the setting up the studio till the end of the season 1, that was an odyssey.
It was. And of course, we can't go anywhere without the valued sponsors that we've had on during season 1.
Do you want to mention them?
Yes, of course. We had Roasting Warehouse. I went to their cafe in Athens. Unbelievable. If you're in Athens, you need to go to Roasting Warehouse, the best coffee. They roast it there on the premises. The cafe opens out to a big lawn. Great menu, great people. Love that. So thank you to Roasting Warehouse. Thank you to M&J Chicken. They're within our community here in Sydney, because I know we broadcast worldwide. M&J Chickens are a stalwart and have written history, and we're very proud to have them as sponsors. We had, of course, Thalasia, that's given us this beautiful, the Phoenix, and I interviewed the artist, which I will be uploading onto our YouTube within the next week or so. Obviously, we want to thank Natasha, who was so popular. I have to say, she has had a lot of people reaching out to her, and each one that has come back to me with the most positive feedback. She's very diligent, efficient, on time. She goes way over and above what any lawyer would do. She literally picks herself up and goes and gets the job done. Thank you to Natasha. Thank you to Safor Designs for woodworking. Look her up on her Instagram, Safor Designs. Safor, as we know, is a famous Greek poetess, and she made this for us, and she makes a lot of amazing things. Look her up on her Instagram.
And let me say a big thank to Mytilenian Brotherhood for providing us the space to host our podcast. Thank you very much from the deepest of our heart. And of course, the Greek City Times that doing articles and helping us promote our podcast on their magazine, e-magazine. Who else? I think that's the main crew from the season 1. So now in season 2, of course, we will continue having the legal segments because we cannot let her go away. She is a treasure. And we have a new addition.
There's the legal need, but then there's a lot of people that would like to start a business in Greece or buy property. Invest. Over to you, Nico, to introduce.
Okay, Helco Consulting and Lucas Theodorou. He will hold the segment in our podcast, analyzing topics in regards to how you can build up a business in Greece, can help you with the real estate, all these matters. And he's doing a great job there in Athens.
Do you want me to tell you a huge coincidence? It blew me away. Lucas made contact with me when he found out that I was in Greece, and he wanted to meet with me because he said he loves what we do on the podcast. And he said, your sponsor, Roasting Warehouse. I said, of course I know our sponsor. He said, I am the one that facilitated the Athens cafe to be up and running. Yes, I said, oh, Jesus, it's such a small world when you connect the diaspora. It's just such a small world. And the cafe is like pumping. It's doing really well. So we're excited for what Lucas brings to the table, looking forward to his contributions. And we will obviously be passing his details. I highly recommend, if you want to buy an apartment, if you want to invest in anything, Lucas is the person, and he will be on one of our podcasts because apart from what he does, his story is very interesting. I was really impressed with, he moved from Melbourne to Greece, but I'm not going to steal his thunder. That's going to be his story when we have him to introduce
Don't
himself.
spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it. Just
no.
stay
Please,
tuned
stay
for
tuned.
Lucas.
The views and information shared in this program are for general purposes only and don't constitute legal, financial, or investment advice. Please seek professional guidance before making any decisions. The Greek Podyssey and its contributors accept no liability for actions taken based on this content.
So the first topic we're going to touch on, which is a very important topic, not the most favored topic for anyone, is tax and setting up a tax structure. So just like Greece, just like Australia, just like any Western country and most countries around the world, you are taxed on personal income and income from corporate earnings. That is really, really important in Greece to get right. And as I always say to my clients, the Greek public system is sometimes like going to university. No one's going to tell you to do your homework. No one's going to tell you in Greece that you're going down the wrong path until you've hit the dead end and you have to backpedal all the way back to the start. So that's why we're here to do it right for the client, make sure all the boxes are ticked, and make sure that the tax file number is set up for a tax resident abroad, not a local tax resident, a tax resident abroad, which applies to any foreigner or someone that doesn't live in Greece permanently. You're considered a tax resident in Greece after you cross over 180 days. For the time being, we're classifying everyone as a tax resident abroad for the purpose of this video. Establishing the tax file number will mean that obviously someone, an individual, will be able to then proceed to open up businesses, to buy real estate, buy businesses, buy shares, do all of that great stuff, open up a bank account, and the list goes on. It will also mean that you've got access to the online tax system, which is My Taxesnet and gov.gr, which is the equivalent to our Australian version, which is MyGov, and all of those online systems that come with that. The online application process does have certain key areas, and this is what I would like to stress. The marriage component in the application is really important to declare. Are you married? Are you not married? If you are married, and if you are married in another country, the marriage certificate will need to have what we call an apostille stamp. It is a stamp that goes on the back of the certificate to certify that this certificate is legal and the person that signed this certificate, the government official, is a legal signatory of the government, and it effectively allows that certificate to be used in another country. It will also need to be translated into Greek by a Greek lawyer or legal translator. You can find them online, or we can help you with that. And the other really important part of this application is that there will be information put in there that needs to be accurate. False declarations can lead to fines, and false declarations can lead to rejections of applications. And that's really, really important because we need to understand that any client is obviously telling the truth, but being law-abiding with the system. You will then be interviewed and your identity will be profiled by the tax department through an online call by which your tax file number will be issued, and we will help you establish all of that online access and online presence with the tax department and with gov.gr and Taxesnet. And that is a really, really important part of setting this up correctly, because if it's not done correctly, it can cause a lot of issues down the track. And especially when it comes to double taxation, which we'll talk about in another episode, it can be problematic. So we're here to set it up correctly from the start with no issues.
So we are having some very interesting topics, hot topics for the Greeks living abroad and the people who love Greece being Greek. They're going to have food, history, music, science. What else?
Controversy.
Yes. So stay tuned for the season 2, and we'll be there for you with some very special topics.
Look, we try not to get into politics, but it's really hard to avoid politics sometimes. So some of the controversy, for example, when we have Ellie on our podcast, we're going to talk about the marbles. So the Greek marbles,
I don't
obviously,
think it's politics.
there's an element of politics that does come into it because a lot of it is political. So we're not talking about political parties, but we're talking about a political situation. Okay, so we'll touch on that when we also will be doing a couple of lives, which we didn't do in the first season.
Of course. So we have many guests, but mostly our interaction with my beautiful pinky co-host, Christine. Look at that smile. And
We have fun though, Nico.
of course. And that's why we loved it, and that's why we continue doing it.
And our numbers and followers and views far outstripped our expectations. That's
Thank you very
exciting
much.
to watch. And the feedback that we receive, and people now contacting us to want to be on our podcast. So please, there's an open invitation. If you have a story to tell, and from anywhere in the world, wherever you may be, we were contacted by a Japanese girl who plays Rebetika in Japan. So we thought, what a story that would be, like Greek Rebetika played in Japan by Japanese.
Sorry, but there is no other Rebetika than Greek.
The fact that it's played in Japan by Japanese people
correct.
is an example of how Hellenism crosses the borders to other cultures. It doesn't have to be within a Greek community. It could be a totally different community.
And during the season 2, we're looking to have about 11, 12 episodes. And hopefully here in Australia will be the beginning of summer or middle summer anyway. And
Bring
because
it to-
October, November, December, it will be middle of summer, and in Greece it will be Christmas. So we'll
It'll
be
be
able...
Christmas here too.
Yeah, the real one.
Oh, yeah.
The real Christmas, not the hot one. And so we will be able to celebrate Christmas together, and that's very exciting for me. We can show you around how the Australian Christmas is.
For people in the Northern Hemisphere, we can show you what a summer Christmas looks like. And we'd like to take you a tour of how Christmas is celebrated in different parts of the world.
I would love
well.
to see from other countries like America, Canada, UK, South Africa, wherever Greeks are. How you guys doing there? Please send us a few videos. If you want to talk to us, we're more than happy to host you here. Because this podcast is a platform for all Greeks living abroad. It's not just Christine and myself. It's for everyone. So our goal is to connect all the Greeks from the diaspora from around the world.
We want to be global. What about
Already.
Germany? There are so many Greeks living in Germany.
Yeah, I'm not saying European countries because Europe is so close. Yeah,
Still,
it's
you
still.
know, Greeks living amongst the German culture.
Greeks are in France, are
Yeah.
in Sweden, are in Germany. We are everywhere.
We're everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. We are everywhere.
Do you want me to tell you about my trip to Smyrni?
I think that you cannot wait to say that.
Let me tell you how it evolved. I was invited by a good friend that I was staying with to go to a wedding in Smyrni. And I was ready to go to a Turkish wedding and excited to see how that evolves and how they celebrate. My girlfriend rings me up and says, Christine, the wedding has been postponed, but we're still going to go to Turkey. And I said, that's great because I've postponed my trip to Mytilene because I thought this is an opportunity to go with someone to Turkey because it's not something that I would ever do on my own, I don't think, and be hosted by people that can take us around to the various places. So I thought it would be a great opportunity. And for me to maybe pick up something for our podcast, I said, why is the wedding postponed? This is where I'm going to get a bit political. She said, the bride's father is from an opposing side to Erdogan, and he voted for something that Erdogan didn't like. So he rounded him and another 20 men and threw them in jail. And the bride was beside herself. She said, I cannot get married without my father present at my wedding. And my heart went out for this poor girl. She was in tears nearly every day. So we stayed with them and they showed us around. So we went to, let me just say, for me, I felt a lot of Greece. And I still call it Smyrni, and even though they call it Izmir. To me, it's Smyrni. There's a lot of Greek. And what I found was the Turkish people love Greeks, love Greece. It was a little surreal. I felt like the ghosts of Greeks surrounding me. It was. And I said to one of the guys, why did you slaughter us? Why did you do that to us? That's exactly what I said.
Did you say that?
100%. That's how I said it. And he said, when we were in school, we were taught that the Greeks set the fires. I said, okay, you're not in school now, you're a grown man and you're a critical thinker. Why would Greeks set fire to their homes, their fellow man, destroy their fortunes? Why would they do that? Let's call it what it is. It was ethnic cleansing of the area. And I know that in Turkey, there's a huge dislike. Maybe I will call it hate for Erdogan, but there's a huge love for Ataturk. And I said, all right, he is the founder of modern Turkey, but he allowed this genocide, this massacre to take place.
Did you find any Greek remains, like Greek businesses still running there? I know there are families still there living there.
Yes.
But do they operate as Greek businesses or?
I can't say that I saw Greek names. I didn't see Greek businesses. In fact, I was told by quite a number of people that they prefer to get the ferry across to Chios or even Samos and do their grocery shopping there because they find it cheaper and better quality.
In Greece, they're doing as well too. They're going to Turkey.
Well, very close. And we've got to be realistic and say without the Turkish tourism, those islands of the Aegean Mediterranean...
Is that tourism? Go for groceries?
No. During the summer months, they go there for their holidays.
Okay.
They say, we love Greece.
Okay.
We love Greek people. The conclusion that I reached is hate is not between the people. It's governments that create the division and the controversy.
100%, 1,000%.
I felt nothing but love and hospitality when I was there.
To be honest, I've visited Bosporus twice. I had a similar experience with you. Everyone was so friendly and welcoming us. And I was questioning myself. I said, like, why I had this idea before? And then, because I was 19, 20 when that happened, and then I realized what you said, that the common people, like the people living every day their lives, they have nothing to split with the Greeks or to argue with. What's happening now, it's all politics and games.
We had a lot of fun.
Yes. Truth is the Greek spirit still lives there in Turkey. If you go Ephesus.
I went to Ephesus.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Let's have a break.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Natasha Karamichou, legal advisor and solicitor in Greece. During the first cycle of the Greek Podyssey, we navigated through several legal topics of your interest, especially property-related, inheritance-related, declaration of rights on properties, and many practical issues, like, for example, how do we register properties in the land registry? I thought it would be a nice idea to wrap up the knowledge on land registrations in the next two podcasts through a Q&A presentation. Let's start with basic information. What is exactly a land registry or cadastry? The National Land Registry is a unified and constantly updating information system which records legal, technical, and other additional information on real estate and rights to it, under the responsibility and guarantee of the state. What does a land registry record? All transactions that create or change rights to real estate on a property-by-property basis. It guarantees the legal information it records, as each transaction is only registered after a substantive legality check. It records the geographical description, shape, location, and size of the property. It systematically discloses and records public real estate. It records rights of first possession, which, especially in rural areas, is perhaps the most common way of acquiring ownership due to informal transfers. Does the cadastre replace the land registry? Is there a difference between them? Yes, it does. According to a 1995 law, focus is given on the land parcel and not the person as owner. The cadastral offices take over the operation of the land registries. There is a transitional period until first registrations are finalized, during which cadastral offices and land registry offices operate as one. Which are the required documents and how much time do I have to register my properties? Once an area has been declared under cadastral registration, a declaration of the registrable rights to the property must be submitted to the local cadastral office within 3 months for citizens living permanently in Greece, and within 6 months for foreign residents and Greeks living abroad, stating the property location, type, land parcel, horizontal or vertical property, attaching the corresponding title deeds of the property. Is it mandatory to register a property in the cadastre? The property declaration is mandatory. If not submitted, it is prohibited to create a right in rem for the right not declared. Nor is a building permit granted under the name of the person who failed to submit the declaration. In other words, it is as if the property does not exist. Therefore, we cannot sell it, we cannot renovate, and in general, we cannot exercise any rights on this property that we have legitimately acquired. What if a registration contains mistakes? We can always correct them through the manifest error correction process. A manifest error could be an incorrect indication of the details of the holder of the right registered in the notice of registration, incorrect indication of the type of right registered, incorrect indication of the title of ownership. On the other hand, a request for correction of geometric data, location, shape, boundaries, area, the replacement in whole or in part of the beneficiary does not constitute a manifest. What if I missed the registration deadline? You can always declare your rights even after the registration and declaration process is completed. There might be a certain fine charge for this action. Can somebody object our rights at the land registry? Anyone who has a legitimate interest can submit an objection indicating obligatory full details at the land registry offices, as long as she or he can prove the legitimate interest on the property. What if we don't have an acceptance of inheritance deed in our hands? Can we still register the inherited property at the cadastre? The declaration of the registrable right can be made with a succession as the cause of acquisition even before the drafting of the acceptance of the inheritance deed. The registrable right is entered in the cadastral tables of the land registry, but the beneficiary cannot validly attempt any act of exercising it until the relevant conditions are fulfilled under the Article 1193 of the Civil Code. What you should always keep in mind is that every case is different. Different properties, different rights, different geographical areas, different circumstances. This is why the consultation of a specialized professional is of foremost importance before attempting any action regarding land registries or cadastres. In our next podcast, I will continue exploring challenging aspects of the land registry laws in Greece. Join the Greek Podyssey and find out more.
Turkey was full of surprises. Turkey was full of Greek memories and friends there.
And awakenings.
And a history lesson. Okay,
so
conclusions.
Thank you to everybody that was wonderful and hospitable to me when I was in Turkey.
And then what else?
Should we go back to the homeland?
Of course. Okay, what was the highlight of your trip?
Look, I have to say, meeting Stavros Xarchakos.
How about places that you visited? Like, of course, it's an honor to meet Stavros Xarchakos.
I've told you, one of my favorite all-time songs is Aspri Mera ke ya mas. And there I am with the person that wrote the song. And I admire him so much. I've seen him in concert. And it was like, can I say it? It gave me goosebumps.
There we go, the goosebumps.
I love meeting people. For me, I see beautiful places. Everywhere you go in Greece, it's a beautiful place. But what makes a trip special for me are the people that I meet, even if it's the taxi driver that's taking me somewhere. People's stories. I was sitting in the taxi going to a concert in Athens, and I started a conversation, and he said to me, my wife gave birth to triplets 2 days ago. I said, triplets? I said, were they naturally conceived? He said, yes. Straight away, you know where my mind went to, Nico? And I still think of this man today. To date, I think working on a taxi driver's salary with the cost of living, having to raise triplets. Of course, I was at this amazing book festival in Athens, and there was Stefanos Kasselakis presenting his book. And of course, I wasn't going to waste an opportunity. I asked him a couple of questions, and later on, we can maybe have him on a future podcast. I basically wanted to find out how important the Greek diaspora is firstly to him and to Greece.
Yeah, we uploaded
We
over
pop
these.
into our YouTube and you can see that interview.
But don't tell me about people that you met.
Yeah.
When you left Greece, you felt emotionally, sentimentally. Do you?
I always feel full because I feel my time when I'm there.
With people.
With people, people are what make, like, people is what we deal with here on this podcast. Have to meet people, because how else are we going to find stories?
Do you know what you want? I want you to tell for the bakery shop in Syros and the guy who was selling the bread.
I'm coming to that.
That's. I want true people.
Okay.
I don't want celebrities.
Hold on, I told you about a taxi driver.
The taxi driver was the first guy. Yeah, I agree.
Syros is a very special island. It is I consider it, apart from Athens, the cultural capital of all the islands. It is.
We've mentioned about 5-10 times
So-
this, but this is
But I have to keep reinforcing it. I land in Syros. I check in to where I was staying, and in the platia, in front of the council, the beautiful white marble paved platia, they were having a dance symposium from dance groups from around Greece. There was from Germany and even Turkey. So they have this parade where the port is in all their regalia, all the beautiful costumes. It was so festive. The Greeks danced. And then the Turkish dance group, this also was a wow moment. There's a Turkish dance school of Turkish youth learning Greek dances. And then we watched all these amazing dancers. Of course, the Cretan dancers and the Pontian dancers was called up, young, old, no matter what background. So then I went to a traditional music night in Syros. So I enjoyed that under the full moon when we had the red moon. So you leave Syros, you go down, and there's a rock concert in the platia.
it's full of arts and culture.
And during the day, you go the fresh vegetable market, the spice market, the fish market. It's just an explosion of the...
Let's go to, you went to Andros. It was Andros, your first
Yes,
destination?
I went
Yeah, I
Andros.
went to Andros, but it was nothing special.
No, Andros is a beautiful island.
Of course it is.
It's a beautiful island. Beautiful beaches. It is the quiet, I call it the quiet gem of the Cyclades. Andros is a gem in the Cyclades. It has more greenery than some of the other islands. And I love Andros. I try to get there every time I go. Do you want me to take you to Athens? Do you want to travel to
course.
Athens?
Yeah,
now?
go. Take it there. You went to Athens.
Okay, I stayed at Thysio, and I would walk down the Sopezodromo and just have that majestic view of the Acropolis, which to me, it's the most beautiful view in the world. What I noticed, Nico, the shops were empty. People aren't spending money. The tourists were not spending money. They would line up. There'd be a line around the block. So people are happy to just grab a tilichton and walk around.
Grab a gyro.
But the souvenir shops, the clothing shops, I struggled to find people. And I really felt for the shop owners because they make most of their money during the summer season. And I've reached the conclusion that there's this theory that Greece is based on high tourism, but that also has a negative because the more tourism you have, it raises prices of everything, which then has a detrimental effect on local Greeks because it prices them out of their own country.
And here's a topic that we'll include in the second season. Is over-tourism beneficial, really beneficial for Greece? And that's something that we will discuss in the future episodes of the season 2, along with, as we said, some beautiful guests and other topics. And let's continue your trip. Then after that, you went to Syros. Is that correct?
This is I finished up in
You went to
in
Turkey.
Athens.
You went to Turkey. Then, you see, I
Patra.
know your movements. You went to Patra, of course, with our friend there, and you stayed there for how many days? How many days?
I stayed about a week.
There was a time the fires were on there,
Yes.
but you were far away from there.
Where I was in Psathopyrgo, which is a beautiful, quaint little fishing village, very authentic. We couldn't even smell the fires. They were raging all around us. We had friends in Patra that were there watching their homes, wiping ash from their balconies. It was a very dramatic time.
Fires during summertime in Greece, it's a very bad thing happening. And we had some really bad fires the last years in Greece. And that's
And very common now, more
very
common.
sad and destroys, I think it destroys Greece.
It does. I heard a lot of heartbreaking stories. There's no point in going into them. You all know the tragedies of fires and loss and obviously animal life as well.
Of course.
It was all very tragic. But all in all, I went to Irodio again and I saw, but it was blues, jazz, and tango. It was wonderful.
Okay.
Absolutely loved it. Under the moon, it was just a dream.
You went to Kazatsidis' concert.
Oh, Kalimarmaro. That for me was a very touching. I really connected to that concert because Kazatsidis is a refugee from Pontian. He was a friend of mine. And when he came to Australia in the 70s, he actually came to visit my dad. He came to Elwood. So I connected with a lot of what was said and portrayed on the history of Oxerizomos. When you're uprooted from your homeland, you suffered racism from people of your own background, leaving your family behind, starting again, and then the next wave, which was leaving Greece to go to another foreign land, to start again. And all that was said through music. And music is the language of life, the language of the soul. It tells a story. And it all touches us in different ways. And I was very moved by that concert. And of course, the lineup of talent was extraordinary.
Yeah, of course. It was very successful. And it was organized from the organization Όλοι Μαζί Μπορούμε, which is doing an amazing work in Greece. And yeah, last year's was Adonis Vardi's tribute with Yanni Vardi and other artists. This year was Kazatsidis' tribute. I would love to have them in our show. Talk about Όλοι Μαζί Μπορούμε and what they do during all these years. And then after that...
I feel blessed. I'm very blessed to have had these experiences. And particularly because Irodio is closing down for 3 years for renovations. So I really had to squeeze that last concert in before it shut down for 3 years. And I did. Tick, yes.
I'll take it next year.
I did go to Egina for a day.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Needed my pistachio fix. I had to go to the pistachio island.
Nice.
Yes.
And you came back full of energy for the season 2 of the Greek Podyssey, which is a good thing. I can see the sparkle in your eye.
Can I give you something that I haven't told you?
Yes.
I'm toying with the idea of going to Greece for New Year's Eve. Are you okay with that?
That's great. I'm happy for you. If you can do it.
Not for long. Maybe 2 weeks. 3.
Go for a month.
No, 3 is okay.
We'll finish here the podcast of season 2. Then you're going to have a gap between the season 2 and 3. You can visit there.
I love Athens in winter.
We said it so many times. Athens is a 12-month destination. You can't go wrong.
Nico, when you come back, it's a real adjustment. It's a real paradigm. It's an adjustment because you're in Athens. There's something every day.
Yeah.
3 times a day, 4 times a day, whatever you want. You come here and you've just got to conform back to... We don't have that. Let's be honest. We don't have that. I don't know. Tell us where you come from. Do you have that in New York? Do you have that in LA? What is everyday life for you like in where you live? In Sydney, it's a little bit stoic.
But, Christine, you're going there as a tourist.
No,
what do you mean
no,
now?
I don't agree with that.
I agree with that. Sorry, let me finish. You're going there as a tourist. You have no responsibilities. You have money in your pocket to spend, correct? And you are by yourself. No grandkids. You're free spirit there. You're going to have a good time.
Okay, assuming I have all those things here, I don't have those choices. It's all about choices. Okay, that's my point. My point isn't what I do.
Lifestyle-wise.
In Greece, whether you have it or you don't have it, if you want it, it's there. That's my point.
I agree with that. I'll second that.
Yeah.
And then I'll say again, there is no better place for holidays than Greece. Thank you.
We got the hell knocked out of us.
I love saying that.
Do you know how many times that episode has been shared?
I know.
And then we have everybody going, whoosh, you're not Greek. You're not
Anyway.
this. You're not that. We love that. We actually want to have a debate about. At some stage, we want a fiery debate and we'll get a couple of historians and talk about who owns history.
Okay, but do we need to have a debate about that?
A lot of people are debating us.
You can go in a university and study classical history and you'll find out who owns history.
But it depends who's telling history. That's the thing.
You can ignore what's been taught
Exactly.
at the university. That's like when you take a diploma of history, classical history, it's a diploma from a university. It's
Yes.
a degree.
It's more than a Google search, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And all these, the funny posts they're posting as the made up
Yes.
maps and all that. Anyway, that's part of our job. And I'm very happy you're back. I missed you, to be honest, but we were in contact all the time.
We were in contact all the
there.
time.
And but you didn't miss me at all?
I did.
No.
I missed you heaps. I
Oh.
miss being back here behind the microphone with you.
Thank you. And we're ready to rock and roll. The
Yes.
season 2, we started very strong with the
Love
Evelyn from Singapore, New York. That's the second episode, and we will continue having fun here at the Greek Podyssey, sharing your stories and contribute to our Greek culture as much as we can.
And thank you. Look forward to Lucas. He's got some good tips, and he's going to help you with any investment you have. If you want to buy an apartment, just take the worry out of it. Have someone there that's going to go look at it and facilitate it for you.
So, looking forward for the episode 3.
Yes.
And we're back.
We're back. Back with a vengeance. Back with you. Happy to be back. And thank you for following and joining and supporting. And thank you to our fabulous sponsors.
And please, if you haven't yet, please follow our YouTube channel where you can watch beautiful Christine wearing this pink shirt and chocolate t-shirt. And she's gorgeous. And thank you very much, everyone, for one more time for watching us and listening to us. The podcast is uploaded in all major platforms. You can listen, you can watch, you can participate, and because it's your Podyssey, it's not only ours.
You matter. Everything you say, we take on board. Thank
you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm Christine Stavropoulos.
Και εγώ ο Νίκος Σαμίδης. Και αυτό είναι το Greek Podyssey, το podcast της Ομογένειας.
A podcast for Hellenes worldwide, sharing stories, culture, identity, laughs, and a little bit of tsugrisma along the way.
Γιατί μπορεί να φύγαμε από την Ελλάδα, αλλά η Ελλάδα δεν έφυγε ποτέ από μας.